Hello and welcome back to my channel. Well, today we are again shooting the book talk, and this time it happened to be online. I have with me Pranav Bansode, who has recently come out with his book, first book actually, Is Your Age Stopping You? So, we are going to talk about his book, his life, his work. Well, Pranav and we used to work for the same company back in Bangalore. So, Pranav, first of all,
All right.
welcome to the show and congratulations on your book.
Thanks, Manisha. Thank you very much.
We are going to talk about Is Your Age Stopping You, the book that you have
Yeah.
recently published, your first book.
Yeah.
But before that,
Yeah.
I would start with I knew you when you used to work for a company. And then you
Right.
went on and you have started your own company. So tell us about your company first and how the shift
Yeah.
happened. What is your company all about? I know it's about
Sure.
recruitment, but for the viewers
Yeah.
actually who are listening to you,
Sure.
who are watching you for the first time, and then what is the
Yeah.
vision, mission, and how many years it has been?
Yeah. So, Manisha, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me here, and it's a pleasure. Of course, as you mentioned, our stint, was very little, very small when we were, it was face-to-face office, physical offices. Nothing was
Right.
online at that time. And
Yes.
I remember there was a time wherein, till late evening, it used to be you working on your computer, and I used to sit just next to
Yes.
there, and we
Yes.
used to be there in office till the late evening.
Yes.
Others used to
Yes.
leave by 5, something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, of course. So basically, starting about how I came into from job to entrepreneurship. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, Manisha. So
Right.
when I completed my post graduation, me and couple of my friends started Canvas. That was also in line with education. It was not aid tech, but we wanted to create an impact by helping people to upskill, gain basic skills, and then start their career or take the next leap in their career.
Right. Right.
We ran that for a year or two, and that time we were like, some of us used to do some part-time other freelancing assignments and look into the business kind of stuff.
Right.
But of course, we all were with a tender age, and that startup failed. And then we decided that instead of trying something, let's gain some experience, because many people who we used to meet and all, like some directors, somebody, they used to be, way older than like a father figures kind of that age people. And they
Right.
always used to say, so nice, how are you managing? And then we used to understand the loopholes, the way we are presenting, the way we are talking, the way
Right.
we are answering their questions. And that made me think that it's better I go for job for few years and then think about
Yes.
starting up again.
Right.
And that's where I started working. Since I had studied in human resources, and recruitment
Yes.
was always my interest.
Yes.
So I started working in the US IT recruitment, UK IT recruitment, Indian IT and non-IT recruitment.
Right.
Also, same time I worked with different consultancies on a freelancing basis as a business development consultant. So I can
Right.
client on board and do that stuff. Then when I work with colleges as well, wherein I can talk to freshers and help them get jobs. And then
Right.
that's where Unnati, people from Unnati got in touch with me, and then
Yes.
I joined Unnati. And to be very frank, that was one of the best experiences I ever had in my career. So today,
Right.
if you like, I usually write on LinkedIn. So every now and then I keep mentioning Ramesh sir there, because what I have learned from him is
Absolutely.
absolutely wonderful learnings. Yeah. And then after Unnati, I left Unnati. I worked in a couple of companies. I worked into sales. I worked into business development, all these kind of categories, plus recruitment as well. And during pandemic, the startup which I was working with, so we were struggling financially, and then they had told us that I don't think that we could sustain for quite long time. So it's better
Right.
you find other opportunities, because those
Yes.
of us,
Yes.
a couple of us were married, and they were like, you have to take care of your family as well. You are not
Sure.
depending on your parents and all. So it's better you
Right.
find out something, because I don't know how long can we will this sustain. And we were very, very new in pandemic. We didn't know when will things open up. When how long will this go?
Right.
So that was a good move for which as an employer they took. And
Yes.
because there was no layoff kind of thing. They had given us advance notice. And so when I was thinking, then I was like, calm karte hain.
Hmm.
I'll think about business, because
Hmm.
that was always there in my mind.
Back in
And
the
then I was
mind.
like,
Yeah.
because of the pandemic, things were very easy, to be very frank.
Yes.
Everything started online. You could have your teams working from home. It was
Right.
normal because
Yes.
initially it
Yes.
was not normal. Yeah.
The new
So
normal.
infrastructure, yeah, new normal.
Yeah.
Infrastructure was not an issue, and
Yes.
I always had that, खुद का करना है, खुद का करना है. I should have something
Hmm.
of my own. I should build an empire. I always call that when I talk to my parents, empire
Okay.
banana hai, kind of.
Yes.
So that was in mind, and then I gave that, instead of putting my energy to find a new job, I started working towards starting up my business. Then I
Yes.
was like, chalo, pehle I started off with research, how
Huh.
what
Huh.
business to exactly go into, because there
Right.
were a couple of things: recruitment, sales, and then training. Training is also part of my career. I am a
Yes.
certified coach and mentor by Chartered Management Institute, London. So
Right.
which one to go with? And then I spent say a couple of months understanding what exactly my niche is, where I can do best. Or tomorrow, if
Yeah.
I have to put my business on autopilot mode, which one business can go on autopilot, and I can put my time for something else.
Right.
That was one of the thoughts which which was a deciding factor to go with recruitment.
Right.
Because then if it had been something else, then I personally would have been the part of it throughout, day in day out. And that's where we
Right.
started off with the idea came up. That's also an interesting story. We were five people who decided that we will
Okay.
start business, and as
Okay.
usual, young
Okay.
enthusiast, business karenge,
That
business
that
karenge.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. And then we started research, and who will do it. So we wanted to do something like five different people will come together, and under one umbrella will provide different services.
Right.
Kind of how freelancers do, like freelancers.com do
Yes.
likewise, but a small
Yeah.
group doing it. Slowly ideation started, and with all that 2 months which was about which we had in our hand, slowly people started dropping off, and it came to two people, me and one of my
Wow.
friends. And we wanted to start on the Gatastapana. And
Okay.
one night before, he says, Pranav, I'm sorry, I can't be part of the business. And I
Okay.
was like, my God, no, I'm alone, and what to
You
do?
have never thought of
And
that.
of course,
Obviously.
never thought of that. Never
Yeah.
thought of that. Because when other people were leaving, he was like, no, we are there. We're going to do this. Then I was like,
Right.
there is no looking back. There is no
Hmm.
looking back. I am not going to, like, I have spent so much time here, and टाइम एफर्ट छोड़ दो जो मतलब होप्स बना के रखे ना. I can't play
हाँ
with my
हाँ
hopes
हाँ
anymore.
बिल्कुल.
Yeah, and that is where I was like, come what may, I just need some more days, and I will start it off. And then so I had to take 9 more days, and it was Ghata Sthapana, so I shifted the plant to Dasera. And then in
Okay.
2020 on Dasera, we introduced AideWiser. We launched AideWiser, a startup, and I started alone because there was nobody.
Yes.
Everything was still so confusing, and I was walking into the dark because they had nobody to start with, and it's a laga nahi tha. I thought like there are people, we all will come together do something.
Yeah.
And then of course when somebody leaves, even the financial contribution goes away. That's the important part of
Of course. That's
when
a big
that's
thing.
the
Huh.
first thing.
Yeah.
Then that was the point. A friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, Maruti Revankar, and my wife Ponima, we all were
Okay.
sitting in my flat, and what to do, friends, like these
Hmm.
people did this. He said, we are there with you. You go away, go ahead and start. That's all,
Yes.
whatever it may come. Till today, he's like, he of course works with us as a pro bono CTO. And till today, anytime, he's like, always, every meeting, he says, anytime financial crisis, give me a call, I'm there. So
Yeah.
that is the kind of support which I got. And I
Right.
think
Right.
that mental and emotional support was very important. I
Yeah.
started alone, and then with time, now it's been 2 years. Now we are a team of 15 people who work under advisor,
Wow.
and yeah, and we all are a team. I'm not their boss; they are not my subordinates. We
Yeah,
all are
that's what
like,
I
we
keep
follow the.
reading about. You keep sharing on LinkedIn. So
Yeah, yeah,
very nice
yeah,
thoughts. You're very active over there. So
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
wonderful to read such fresh content and fresh thoughts. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. So this is how it started, and then when we started recruitment, recruitment is also very big umbrella. There are so many
Yeah.
things to do in recruitment. So there are US IT recruitment, there are contracts or permanent role kind of stuff. In IT and non-IT in India, it's a huge market. इंडिया में
Yeah.
कौन सा करना है, पैन इंडिया करना है, और शुड वी फोकस ओनली ऑन बैंगलोर.
हाँ
So
हाँ
so many
हाँ.
different decisions, but then I was like, let us go ahead with pan India, and
Okay.
then IT and non-IT both. So basically, we can try out what all different things it can work.
Right.
And then slowly it kept me teaching that okay, you have to take these decisions, you have to bring your
Right.
niche to something like this. So now
Right.
when it comes to non-IT, we only work with a few roles. When it comes to non-IT, we have only decided roles. Like I just don't go for any non-IT. Like somebody calls me from restaurant, we are looking for people, then I'm like, I straight away say, I'm so thankful that you remember me and contact me, but that's not my niche, and I won't be able to make justice to the service. And if I can't
Right.
make the justice, I know that I don't want to just grab the client and
Yes.
what will I do? I'll grab the client
Yes.
and I won't be able to serve you. There is no point
Right.
in doing that. So I'd never want that 500 clients onboarded and not serving
Right.
three.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
and still
I think,
learning.
and
Yeah.
in some way, it works for everything, be it business as individual. If you're clear that what exactly you want to do, or sometimes maybe the thing you said is like you are very clear what you don't want to do, like what you don't want to come
Yeah.
in. So
Yeah.
that is very
Correct.
important.
Entire journey had been and still
Mhm.
learning a lot. Okay, every day
Yes.
comes with new learning,
Yes.
and I think one has to always keep their ears and eyes open. Then you can learn.
Yes.
मुझे
Yes.
पता है, I know it all. If you go with this attitude,
वो
please
एटीट्यूड
don't go.
सही भी नहीं है, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
True.
हाँ हाँ हाँ. What I understand, what all you have told me, and this journey that you had, entrepreneurship ki ho, be it as a working professional, what I understand from your conversation is you've been learning all this
Yes,
while.
yes.
So Pranav, now let's shift to now I think
Yeah.
our viewers,
Right.
and they have understood exactly what you do, what you have done, and now maybe they have also gotten an idea why you have come out with the book. Since it is my job to ask
Yeah.
you, so I'll ask you how this idea of
Yes.
publishing this particular book, how
Yeah.
it came about, and also the title, very fascinating.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, talking about book, I have been writing for years now. Like when I was 14, I wrote my first article. Of course, I write
Right.
mostly Marathi. I love to
Yes.
write in Marathi. There was
Huh.
one professor, Professor N.D. Apte. He's my father figure. He passed away a couple of
Okay.
years back. He was my
Okay.
professor in college, and I wrote something in English and showed it to him. His command over English was excellent. And then
Hmm.
he said, I have a recommendation for you. There are many mistakes in this article, what I have written. The
Yes. Yes.
tenses are not in place, the flow is not in place.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
don't you translate this to Marathi? I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, he has told. I translated that. And that translation came out really well, is what he told me. And then he was like,
Okay.
see, your command over Marathi is better than command over English. You have to accept
Yes.
that. And second thing, if youngsters like you go to write English, who will write Marathi in future?
Okay.
So it's
Hmm.
okay. If you do not get international crowd, that is fine.
Yes.
But write in your own language when you are writing non-fiction. So stories,
Okay.
everything, write in your own language.
Yes.
At that time, I was just studying my graduation and never thought of this book. But I always had that हाँ मुझे लिखना है, I want to be an
Yes.
author, I want to be an author. ये हमेशा चलता था.
Yes.
And today also I have written so much, Manisha. Like if I decide and make it into publication and release
Yes.
books,
Yes.
almost 4 5 books हो जाएंगे. उतना सारा लिख के तैयार है. But
I can
कभी इस intention
understand
से
that.
नहीं
Yeah.
लिखा.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I write poetry as well. So that thing is always there with me. And I
Hmm.
always wanted to be an author as well. Very what we learn or what we study, it should always give something in a nutshell so people understand. And with
Yes.
that view in mind,
Absolutely.
I had been writing so far, but then when I started my entrepreneurial journey, or since I started business, I would say.
Right.
So that was the time I thought like, okay, ये hobby तो ठीक है, but we should write something professionally as well, because
Yes.
profession, the more, it's not just about becoming an author. It's more about when you try to write something and publish it, you have to
Yes.
relearn a lot. And that
Absolutely. Yeah.
relearning will help
Yeah.
me. That was like, if I go into relearning, that will actually help me to revise what all I studied. And that was the basic thing behind writing this book, that okay, I will, like, since I started my graduation back in 2008, and before that
Yes.
I started 2006, I was grammar, like commerce and all.
Yeah.
So that I was like, I can revise everything my commerce journey, if I go into this kind of professional
Yes.
book writing. And then motivation had always been my topic of interest, because I have studied business psychology, and when
Yeah.
you study business psychology, motivation, all this intellectual,
Yeah.
all these things, and they play a very important role. So motivation being my, what we call it, interesting topic. When I was doing my post graduation, even all of my projects were connected with motivation and age and that kind of stuff. And that is where that was one of the thoughts that I have, I have read a lot about motivation. I have studied a lot about motivation and age as well. And then
Mm.
that was the time that I thought, yes, let us, what all I had studied, what all notes I had prepared. So most of them were online, most of them, some of them were in my notebooks, and thankfully I
Okay.
still have notebooks from my college. Yeah, I
Wow, that's
still have
wonderful.
notebooks from my colleges. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I opened my cupboard, got all those notes out, and then started thinking, what can we write, what can we not, what we can eliminate from
Yes.
this content, and
Yes.
blah blah blah. And then, of course, that was just a study, and now
Hmm.
experience as well. What in last
Yeah.
8 9 years of working experience. So I inculcated both those things together. So what I had studied, what was on my mind,
Yeah.
and what I have experienced so far. So this
Yeah.
book, Is Your Age Stopping You, is combination of these three things. It's combination of research, it's combination of thoughts, and it's combination of experience. So that's why,
Yeah.
and I always I wanted that to be a handbook. That's why it is not very long, 400 pages,
Yeah, 37
because
pages.
yeah.
I've already,
So
I'll just show
yeah.
you right now. I've downloaded it and
Right.
I'm reading it on my phone. So I'll show
Right.
our viewers as well. So let me just show it. You can easily go to Amazon and yeah, this is the cover.
Yeah.
Actually, it's going to show differently over here, flip side. So this is the cover, and yeah, it's very
Right.
short actually. If you just flip through, I don't know if people are going
Right.
to, yeah. So it's very short one and very handy.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
have done some, you have shared some research also. You have spoken to people and you have
Right.
quoted them
Correct.
also. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. So that was because first-hand information always is always very helpful. Like if I
Mm.
put somebody else's research into my publications or my books,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't connect. But first-hand
yeah,
research always connects straight away to the reader, and that's why
yeah,
whatever I had spoken with, whatever people I met, what I learned from them. So I didn't just put their name because there were hundreds and thousands of people like. Yeah, so basically, I didn't quote anybody's name there because it's again, since this was, like Amazon Kindle ebook, it would have got published across the globe, and
yes,
some countries
yes,
have that data and privacy, norms
yes,
in place,
yes,
and you have
of
to
course.
take written permission from everybody. You must have that email
Right.
handy. If somebody says, "Hey, my name is there," you have not taken my permission, so you have
Yes,
to have that
yes,
email ready.
absolutely.
So
Right.
instead of going into all that trouble, I was like, let us not put that names anywhere.
Hmm.
But it's still the first hand data, which I have spoken and I've learned with. So why this is a small group? Because I always wanted this to get handbook, and this is designed for managers as well as everybody who wants to, go an extra mile when it comes to their motivation. So
Right.
managers go, this should be a handbook for managers to take their team to the next level. And
Okay.
suppose somebody is not manager, somebody who just started his career and just 1.5 years of experience, if he goes
Right.
through, the person must be able to connect with that book. And it should
Okay.
not be like padi round.
खत्म ही
It
नहीं हो
should
रहा
not happen like that.
है.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, it should be very small, short but
Yes.
sweet. And with that,
Yeah.
to be very frank, I have eliminated so much of content when I was actually writing this.
Yes.
So many, I think so much of like guidelines were there. So
Yes.
many other
Yes.
how those theories are actually in place and how it works at workplace and the
Yeah.
examples. All those
Yeah.
things were there. I had written them in my dissertation as well, so I knew that most of that part. But then I was like,
Yeah.
there is no point in putting all this stuff. It's
Yeah.
only should be focused on what exactly it talks about, and that is why it's a small guide. And
Yeah.
this guide will give you, as I already said, the research part, the study part of it. So
Right.
whatever I have written in the later part of the book has
Yeah.
some base, and
Yes.
the people should not feel that it's a baseless talk. That's why I
No,
have
it
given in
makes
the
it
first part.
authentic
Yeah,
when you quote people and share the
right,
things.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I said.
So I have used these motivational theories, theorems, and all that things. So
Yes.
it
Yes.
straight away connects with that okay, yeah, ऐसा बोला तो
Yeah.
है. Like what we see in reference book, things are written, but we don't know
Yes.
do they really work in real life. But for
Right.
that, I gave examples in the second part of the book wherein you can straight away see, अच्छा ये यहाँ पे connect होता है.
बिल्कुल
Now
बिल्कुल.
it's another
Yeah.
thing a reader has to understand. Okay,
Yeah.
somebody talked about I always want my table clean. That means
Yeah.
we are talking about hygiene theory of motivation.
Yes.
Somebody might say that,
Absolutely.
yeah, somebody might say that, I work, but after some time, maybe if I work for 6 hours a day, the next 2 hours are actually not so productive. Then it should be like like marginal utility theory, wherein basically,
Right.
if you keep doing the same stuff continuously, then you might feel that boring or stagnant. So that
Right.
is the kind of stuff I try to connect with examples and research, and
Okay.
that's what this book is about. Now, coming to the title. So my idea of title was different. So I wanted to keep it very simple. Okay, like age and motivation or something like that, or
Right.
motivation is that happening with you, blah, blah.
Yes.
But then the editor of the book, Maruti Revankar, if you see it on Amazon, you will see that Maruti Revankar, he's the pro
Yes.
bono
Yes.
CPO of AideWiser, and great help. So he's also a poet, and he has a very strong. He's a he's a distinguished Toastmasters as well. So his
Okay.
command over language and everything is super. And then
Yes.
most of my writings he has proofread it, and then he was editing the book, and then he was like, look, this something nice. I have a suggestion. Just think if it works for you. And then he came up with like easier age stopping. He gave me some four suggestions, four
Okay.
five
Yeah.
suggestions. And that suggestion
That's the
just took
best
my
one.
breath. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
I
Loved it.
want to go ahead with that. And then
Yeah.
he was the one who designed the front page and all that
Yes.
phrasing, and he's good with
Yeah.
design. He also looks
Right.
into our marketing, social media marketing
Okay.
of
Okay.
AideWiser.
Okay.
Every whatever you see on internet, that's him
Okay.
who has approved that post. Unless he approves the post, doesn't go on social media. So that is he
Okay.
has very strong. He's into he himself is into designing. So
Yeah.
that
Very
object
creative. The
placement and
creative
everything. Yeah,
part of
very
it, I would say.
correct, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
designing
So
basically. Yeah. That's wonderful.
that is taken care by him, and with that I was like, yes, this really makes this is connecting. Like, is your age stopping you actually connect with
It connects with
the
everybody. You're not
cause.
saying
Yeah,
any
yeah,
particular
correct.
age, you're saying
Yeah,
age.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. Yes. So I still had, I would like to quote couple of things like, I was when we were advertising this book,
Yeah.
somebody replied, यार मुझे तो अभी जरूरत नहीं इसकी, लेकिन I'll
हाँ.
ask my friends to buy it. And I was like, okay, fine. Then next,
ठीक है.
like after a few hours, again she messaged me. Actually,
हम्म.
मुझे ऐसा लगा था कि ये बुक थोड़ा बुड्ढे लोगों के लिए वगैरह आपने लिखा होगा, इसीलिए मैं ऐसा बोला. But then
हाँ.
I read the description, and
हाँ.
it again connected with me, and I will
हाँ.
of course
हाँ.
book my copy as well. So
Right.
that those things also happen. Like sometimes people straight away they look it from their own lenses. So it's not a generic view. They like, अच्छा age is more stopping you. अभी तो मैं 25 साल का हूँ, मुझे
What
कौन सा
age?
age stop.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
So, but that's why we didn't say age and motivation, because age and motivation would have straight away gone to 50 plus, and that's what
Yes,
we decided
definitely.
on. Is your age
Yeah.
stopping? Because it stops. The one who is who is always active, who has that thirst to go grow, and
Yeah.
thirst to reach that extra mile, or
Yes.
reach their goals.
Right.
Something or the other thing do come in between during any age. Like we all are stuck
Right.
at 18, we all are stuck at 20, we all are stuck at
Yes,
25. So
absolutely.
whatever
Yeah.
it may be, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was that being the reason. Even a 17-year-old reads this book, he will learn something, and even a 70-year-old reads something, he will learn something from that. So
Absolutely.
keeping this generic view in mind, what I have written this. And
Mm.
if I really go into detail, so I have to only write for something like 18 to 25. I can
Right.
another 400 pages I can write, but then there is no point in including everything in one book. And
Yeah.
that's why age and motivation for everybody. Yeah,
Yeah, I've read
reclaim
in
your
between
motivation.
pages you have said. I don't know what chapter it was. Maybe it was about motivation or before that, the first chapter. That
Hmm.
I will not go into so much of detail. Maybe it is for
Yes.
another day or another book. So, are you also planning
Yes,
to
yes,
write
yes.
another book as well?
No, that's a surprise.
Okay,
Yeah, so I
there's
would
a
like to
hint.
tell all the yeah, I would like, of course, the thing is, if anything, if you talk about motivation, again, motivation has so many other factors. Even एक हाथ दुख रहा है ये भी मोटिवेशन को कम ज्यादा कर सकता है, and
बिल्कुल
आज सुबह
बिल्कुल।
उठा तो बहुत अच्छा
हाँ,
लगा, like
मूड अच्छा
everybody
था या
spoke
नहीं,
well,
ऑफ
yeah.
कोर्स।
So
हाँ,
so but that will be more into a psychological part of it and not a business part of it. So
राइट
of course there is scope to write, even
राइट।
when I read this book, when I finished this book, I myself, when I studied, we always used to do the further scope thing, or whatever
या
you write, even if you
या
write your answers, our professor used to tell us what is the further scope, and understand that that will give you, that will act as a lighthouse for your future, what you call it, path or kind of stuff.
ओके
And
ओके।
that's where when I wrote this book, and everything was done, and we were about to, like, okay, we'll publish it now. That time I went through it again, the final version of it. And then I found, now I know there are a couple of loopholes in that, which I only know. Okay. That I
यस
know that these things can be elaborated, these things can be eliminated, that kind of stuff. So
यस
that elaboration, so when I read that, the elaborations were like 4 or 5 different points were there. So a couple of them
राइट।
can really go, we can go into deep down, we can deep down into that. And that's where, those are the things which, yeah, their plans are there. And yeah, something interesting for readers is coming up very soon.
Did you face any
Okay.
difficulty in publishing? Because since it's a very small book, handy also,
Yeah.
interesting as well,
Right.
good for actually beginners who really want to read something but really don't know what to read, and they are professional as well.
Right.
So, did you face any
Correct.
difficulties?
Of course, difficulties are, every stage of life you have difficulty.
Yes,
So difficulty started from what to write, to be very
right,
frank. Deciding on
right,
topic, when you started
yes,
writing, then getting the things done, writing it down, how to frame sentences, what will create an impact, what will add a value. All those
right,
things were, those were some of the technical parts of it. Moreover, which publisher to reach was the biggest
yes,
problem. Who
yeah,
will, I know some publishers wouldn't have even accepted this small handbook. They're like, भगवान का पोथी का पुस्तक दिख रहा है, kind of
right,
stuff. So then, KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, helps you to publish your own books. You don't need
yes,
publisher for that. So they take
right,
responsibility of the publishing.
yeah,
And the only challenge with KDP is KDP doesn't have paperbacks in India right now. It's
yeah,
coming up. So
yeah,
if you buy it from the US market, you will get
yeah,
paperback, hardcover, as well as, e-copy. But then I was like, the trend is like most of the people still read on. It's a small guide, and I wanted it to be a pocket friendly guide, like pocket dictionary kind of stuff. So we thought of ebook as the first priority, and yeah, KDP very soon gonna launch paperbacks in India. So that time this
okay,
copy will be available in India to buy a paperback. So choosing publisher was first challenge. I didn't know where to go, what to whom to ask, and who will take this idea up. Or publisher, they might have their own editors, and they might make. I wanted to showcase. I wanted to showcase a deer, and they would have made it
okay,
an elephant. So I didn't want that.
absolutely,
And with that in mind, me and Maruti, we thought over, and then we decided KDP is the best option to go with. And
right,
that is where, we decided Kindle Direct Publishing, like it's the authorized Amazon publishing, company. And
yes,
there we submitted our thesis, and then, from the moment we submitted, it takes time to get it approved. So that
absolutely,
was the
right,
longest time ever to wait. The
yeah,
moment we submitted, and it got approved was the longest time. But it didn't
okay,
take more than a day, as a few hours it took. So
yeah,
with that, it got published, and then, yeah, once it is on Amazon, it's easy to distribute as well. And
right,
with that in mind, you don't have to worry about what will happen, how will we sell it, will people buy it, and all. So you can only see it on Amazon, and Amazon takes care of it. So that is how, that in that way it was easier than publishing something like a hard copy if you want to publish. So
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
that way it is easy journey.
Okay. And since we are like, we talk about book recommendations also in the book, and you have written a book,
Right.
obviously, you have read book. And what are the books that you would like to recommend, and what is something that you're reading currently or you have read that you really loved that you would like to share?
Okay, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
reading, I won't say I'm an avid reader, but I like to read a lot. A couple
Yeah.
of the books I really like, I want everybody to read is first of all, Rich Dad Poor Dad, because that's a
Okay.
wonderful
Yes.
book which
Yes,
tells you
it is.
about financial literacy, and it's very
Right.
important. Another book which is always on my table, I want all of the readers to read. This is like Robin Sharma's Daily Inspiration.
Oh,
So
he's
this book
wonderful.
is this book is written in a way wherein you have one tip for every day. So if you go
Yeah.
through, it has one day and one tip, half a page or
Mm.
something like that. But
Okay.
it's it gives more motivation. It is every day, it keeps you on track, and it tells you, it talks about everything: your personal relationship, professional relationships, your goals, your emotions, and everything. So one tip
Okay.
per day. If somebody has to learn, like, I can't read much, but I don't get time to read and all. So first of all,
Okay.
don't get time to read is the worst excuse one can make. So even
Right.
15 minutes you read, 50 minutes you read, you learn a lot.
Right. Right.
Sometime to develop this habit of reading, you must have that tick. हाँ, आज मैंने पढ़ा है, उसके ऊपर टिक कर
पढ़ा
दो.
है
Have that list.
बिल्कुल.
Yeah. वो एक
Yeah.
बार टिक करोगे ना, बाद में आदत, like, then you will become habitual, and you will start loving to read, and that is how it happens.
Right.
So this is one of the books, and another book, that's a Marathi book, which is
Yeah.
like Apan Sare Arjun. That's written by
Okay.
Vapu Kale. That's like a Gita for me. That's, of
Okay.
course, it's in Marathi, and
Okay.
I don't know if it's
So
the English
Marathi, people
translation
who can
available.
read and write and understand Marathi,
Yeah,
those of you can
right.
read it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Apan Sare Arjun is like, that's the
Okay.
book that teaches a lot as well. So
Okay.
yeah, these are some of the books which are always on top of my list. Apart
Okay.
from that, there are a lot of many which I keep reading, and
All right.
yeah,
Okay. So, Prana, we are moving towards the end of the
yeah,
conversation. I really would like to ask you. We started off with your work, that how you
right,
started working as a professional, and then you wanted to become, always wanted to become an
right,
entrepreneur. So, I really wanted to ask you, and this question actually came up when you were talking about your work and experience and everything. Did working in recruitment sector and did working in different jobs helped you as an entrepreneur, also as an author as well, that experience? And also then later maybe you can talk about your book, that where it's available, how people can read it, and who
right,
all can read it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, of course, every experience which I worked on, even voluntary part-time job, I have done all that during my studies. I was under a learn and earn program. I was under a part-time job, internships, everything I did, whatever I could grab, I kept grabbing. So every experience added something to become an entrepreneur. And now, when I look into, when I sit in this chair and handle a team, talk to the team, I understand why my bosses were right, like
Right.
why their view was right, because they think from different perspective. As an
Right.
employee, we see from different perspective. So that
Right.
every experience has helped me a lot. Some experiences have taught me how you should not go about something. Some
Yes.
experience taught me what you should not do, and some experience taught me why this is the right
Yeah.
way and why you should be adamant about that way only. Because I
Right.
have I have, I have proved that myself, that I can do that this way, and it has happened, it has worked before. So
Yes.
that, those are the things which help me every day on a day-to-day operations. About book as well, yeah, some of my, not every job experiences, but my internships, my part-time jobs actually
Yes.
helped me a lot,
Yes.
because yeah,
Yes.
that was the time when I had to do time management. When at times I was like, I didn't want to go, but I had to go, because it was not a compulsory as well to go and work because I was studying. But
Yeah.
still, since we have committed to the employer, we have to go, and we have to work. So those
Yes.
small jobs helped me a lot when I was reading about this, when I was writing this book.
Okay.
About the availability, this book is available on Amazon.com, Amazon.in, both the websites, and readers can. Yeah, next week it will again be on promotion. Last week
Yeah.
also it was one. So once it is on promotion, usually
Okay.
people get it at the discounted prices, and otherwise
Right.
there are some a few bucks. And my main goal is not to make money from the book. My
Yes.
main goal is
Yes.
like
We
whatever
get
my
it.
thoughts are, it should
Yes.
reach people. Yeah. So that is why the price is very pocket friendly. I don't mind whatever money it generates. I won't even look into that. So
Right.
my
Right.
thought should reach, and it should help people. It's more
Right.
important is, यार मुझे कुछ करने का मन नहीं होता. Yes, nobody in India should say this. That's the vision.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
how people should always think that I have some. Yeah, there is so many things to do, and there are so many things to do, and I can do anything and start. That's what this book should help them think.
Okay. Okay. So, Pranav, before I let you go, there are two, three things that I really personally want to ask you. First of all, when I published my story collection book, I was really confused, what all are the names that I should be putting in when I do the dedication part in the book. So when I read yours, you have dedicated it to your mother and your wife. It was very easy and it was really such a relief. I was like, oh, it can be this simple. That these are the people who are actually who have been there throughout and who you really look up to. So tell us about the dedication in detail because definitely
Yeah,
they play a very important role. That's what I
true.
can sense from only two words that you have written that you are
Yeah.
thankful and
So the basic reason behind dedicating it to my mother and my wife. First of all, of course, they are the strongest pillar in everybody's life.
yes,
But for me, the case is little different because my mother had been a strongest support in all the odds. So likewise,
right,
my relation with my parents was very friend, and
yes,
what all personal life loopholes were there, some problems were there. When I got stuck, it's emotional stuff or some or the other stuff.
yes,
All
yes,
that time they never scolded me; they stood by me, and that's where of course that important part she played. And the important part is like leaving a full-time job, a good paid
yes,
job in Bangalore, and starting
absolutely.
something of your own, where
Own.
I have had no guarantee of how much money will we make, how much time will it take to make money, and
Yes,
how much efforts it might take, and how many sleepless nights, and what all a business
yes.
takes. They didn't question me in a single thing. Same with my wife as well. Like, I told her that I want to start up, and what are your thoughts? She's like,
Yes,
okay, start up. I'm like, no, it's not that easy. Trust me, things are
yes,
gonna be very difficult, very
yes,
difficult.
yes.
There's not gonna be a monthly message which comes to your mobile and you're set for the month, nothing like that. And she's like, I work, no, you don't worry. You go on your mission. I'll take care of your households, our
Wow. Yeah.
households. And
Yeah.
that one statement, and of course, she's the first promoter of AideWiser, and she's also part
Yes,
of the active
absolutely.
part
Yeah.
of business. Yeah, and what you call, she's also whenever we take a board level decision, she's also part of that decision along with me, Maruti, and Purnima. We take that decision. So
Okay.
this is how we overall the structure is. Even with book as well. When I was about to write, book literature, and
Mm.
my first thing, like from that day till I published, my mom every day kept reminding me, hey, you have to work on book, right? तुला पुस्तकाचं काम करायचं आहे. Don't forget your, like
Wow.
in Marathi, just tell me,
That's
you have to
wonderful.
work on a book. You are working on a book. Remember, you have to take time for that. Remember, you're doing everything right. And then I was like, I don't know what should I write. There's so much to read and so much to write. And like it might go to 400 pages. Who will read that now? Then she's like, no, they do one thing. Only pick up 10% of it. And that's where they gave me the
Okay.
right direction.
Wow. Wow.
And that
Very
direction
thoughtful.
led,
Huh.
yeah, yeah. That direction led me to, get this done. And when I was in this process of writing book, and it takes so
Right.
much of time, so much of reading, rereading, and searching something,
Yeah.
checking if what we have written is perfect and foolproof and we're not faking anything. All these things have to be taken care of. It takes a lot of time, so I
Yes.
had to give the time apart from my business hours. And
Yes.
in that place it comes when when I was in this phase, almost whatever time I spent, last few days are always very
Yes.
critical and full of around the clock you need to work on that.
Yes.
So not a single time, like my wife said, hey, you don't have time for us, you don't have time for us. I only used to see her 2 times a day, 15 minutes for lunch, 15 minutes for dinner, that's all. But she
Right.
never complained about anything. Like, okay, you're doing something, and I'm sure that if you're putting efforts, you will have some fruitful have. So that's why
Yeah.
this dedication goes to wonderful pillars of the life
Yes.
who are always there, come what may. Blindfoldedly, I can tell whatever the worst day of my life comes, these two will never
Yes.
go away. These two will always be there to help and support you.
Yeah.
And that's why the first book is always first book. That
Yes.
feeling of first book is different for everybody. For me,
Yes.
for my wife, the moment it got published, I sent the link to my wife, and she was so happy. And she was like, "I won't buy these, but I'm happy that I won't buy this, but I'm happy that your first book is published." And then I was like, "Why you're saying you won't buy it?" And she's like, "I read everything, no, so I already know what's there in the book." Yeah. So
Right.
that is the kind of that is the kind of so casually they take, and they don't show
Yeah.
up that
It
how
grounds you
much.
also, right? That they are not
Uh,
making big deal out of it. At
yeah,
the same
right,
time, they are
correct.
happy for you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is, that's why
Yeah.
this dedication goes to these two people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
That's what I was thinking, when I was reading it. Only few words over there, dedication to your wife and mother, their names as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
And I have to ask him about that. And
Yeah.
one more question, actually, it's apart from the book and everything else,
Yeah.
since we have spoken about your entrepreneurship journey and how it
Yeah.
has been your roller coaster ride. So I know the days are different, like every day is different, and every
Uh,
month for sure is different. Being a entrepreneur yourself, if you
yeah.
have to be motivated enough, and even given that there are lows as well, more lows
Yeah.
than the highs,
Yes,
basically.
of course.
So how you keep yourself
Yes.
motivated? Who are the people?
Yeah.
What are the books, and what you exactly do when you don't feel motivated
Yeah.
and when you are low?
Yeah, so to be very frank, it's a everyday saga.
Yes,
Every day
yes, it
something
is.
happens
It
during
is.
the day. You find something. So first of all, let's talk about the first part of like when I really feel low. So my first go-to person is my friend Maruti Revankar. So he's also, he's everywhere. If you see my life last 3 years, he's
I
been
know
everywhere.
in the interview you
Yeah.
mentioned him so many
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yes, so he has been a strongest support when it comes to personal life as well. So even in lows as well, like, when I'm not, there has been time I have called him at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, wake up! This is how it is, to stuck here. Or maybe somebody we have onboarded and is not working to the mark, and we know on the last day of the month we have to pay him the salary, but there is no outcome. So at that
Yes.
kind of point of time, early mornings 5 o'clock I have pinged you when I woke up. Hey, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Or shall we just give up on AideWiser and do something else? So he's like, what happened? You just want to sleep, wake up at 8 o'clock and think about it. So
Yeah.
that is one of the persons I talk to. Even not Purnima,
Yeah.
because Purnima, my
He's a
wife, I
constant
don't want to
support.
give her.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, talk this everything to Purnima because I don't want her to be, worried again. So
Yes.
she already looks into so many other stuff of, household
Yeah.
plus her, job and everything. So I
Yeah.
don't want her to, worry her more. So Maruti is the guy whom I always go. Apart from going to somebody, I mostly the first thing which I do when I really feel low is I close my eyes and sit down, or I try to write some poetry. That
Yes.
gives me altogether different. It takes
Right.
me to other zone,
Yeah.
and I
It's
forget about whatever
therapeutic,
is happening.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I just let it go wherever it. I keep that problem there, and I start to write. I train people ghazal as well. So I straight
Okay.
away jump to that WhatsApp group and start checking their ghazals and find their mistakes and how they can improve on something. If I
Okay.
spend some 30 odd minutes there, I forget what problem I was in. So that's
Yeah.
another thing which I usually. And the third thing is harmonium. Whenever I'm down, I play harmonium.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
practice couple of songs, which gives me some motivation, and it energizes me. And when
Yeah.
that moment is very important. You have to get rid of that moment. Once you
Yeah.
are out of that moment, then you yourself find the answer for the same problem.
Yeah.
So these are some of the ways, my friend, my poetry, and harmonium are the three
Yeah,
ways which
you
helps me to.
later after this interview, you send me the clip, when you're playing. I'll just put it up here when you're
Sure,
talking
sure,
about it.
sure.
It'll be really good.
Maybe.
We need to see that different
Sure.
side of an entrepreneur. It shouldn't be all serious and everything, because life is mix of everything. You have family, you have friends, you have your passion,
Right,
you have your hobbies, and
right, right,
everything.
right.
Like, so I just
Right.
focus on one thing. So,
Maybe
okay.
there could be some recorded, when I played harmonium.
गुरुदेव की चरणों में अरज हमारी है, ना भूले हम तुमको, तेरे दर पे भिखारी है, तू खड़ा कर विनम्र मुझे,
Pranav has come out with his first book, Is Your Age Stopping You? It's on Amazon. I'm going to put the link in the description. I have already downloaded it, and you can do the same after watching this video when the interview will be up. Pranav, anything else you would like to say about the book, about anything else that you are passionate about in life before we go?
Uh, yeah, sure. I would like to say it in this way. Everybody wants to do something or the other thing. Everybody wants to, write a book. Everybody wants to do something or the other thing. So do not wait for the day to come. Start today, and you will go there. So book लिखना है यार पता नहीं कैसे. Start writing. Whatever thoughts come, pen it down, and
Right.
one day you will find, I have some fruitful information that I can share with you.
Right.
Anything. Some people want to, so many people want to be an entrepreneur. So, of course, it's a huge, entrepreneurship is different, business is different, so many things are there.
Yes.
Start working as a freelancer, start working for yourself. I'm not saying quit your
Yes.
job, go into the side
Right.
hustle, and,
Right.
start as a freelancer. You will slowly understand that, okay, I'm doing well in my freelancing than my job. That is the time when you can start. So these are
Yeah.
small things, which even I have tried and tested. It was the best.
Yes.
So
Yes.
these are some of the
Absolutely.
things. And always be a hustler.
Yes.
Always be a hustler. Try to
Yeah.
learn. Try
Keep
to go
trying.
somewhere,
Yeah.
meet people. Keep trying. Yeah. You'll find. You'll find paths with that itself. Talk to random people. That I do. LinkedIn, and I like to spend time on LinkedIn. Anybody
Yeah.
pings me, I spend time on LinkedIn. I talk to them.
Yeah.
It helps us to understand people, their psychology,
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
they are looking at life, the way somebody has something to, always teach you, or somebody
Yeah.
always has some suggestion. They just send you a random message, but that becomes something, a very important direction for your
Yes.
day, or direction for your
Absolutely.
business day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that is how
That's
it has been. And
wonderful. No,
yeah.
thank you so much for sharing your heart out, pouring your heart out, and sharing everything that you have experienced and that you've been experiencing, and how you're coping with your highs and lows and everything else in life. Thank you so much for being so honest. And congratulations once again for your book. I know when I texted you, you immediately said yes. You didn't even know what are the questions that I'm going to ask you. So that really means a lot,
Right.
and
Thank
wish you all the best and congratulations
thank
once
you.
again. Thank you so much, Pranav, for joining the book talk.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thanks a lot, Manisha. Yeah. Thank you.